What's up, bitches?
Let's talk about crime. Bro, did you whisper?
I thought you had me muted. I was practicing.
my
It's
God,
okay. We can just leave it. We'll just leave it. People will just it fits the it fits the bill. We're talking about a spooky ass shit today. Kind of spooky ass shit today. It's not really spooky. I mean, yeah, it's kind of spooky. Hi, we're here. We have had a long day. A long day. So just a little quick update on life. We sold our house. We officially moved out today. And Sierra was there to help, and she did a lot of the heavy lifting because my body is old and I'm feeble, so I can't do shit. And her brother, who is like a monstrous human, hurt his back, so he was struggling. And so Sierra did a lot of the moving, and we're all fucking exhausted. And yet then I came home because we're living with Sierra now, and I'm like, shit, we got to do a podcast. So bear with us because this one, we're tired.
I know, I should have grabbed some coffee.
For reals, we're tired as hell. But we are talking about something a little different today. A little, well, you should know. We talked about it last week because you said it would have been cool. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it the next week because we did Alcatraz, which, by the way, y'all really like the Alcatraz. Like, y'all really like the Alcatraz, especially on like TikTok. We be blowing up on TikTok for the Alcatraz story. So that just tells me what kinds of things people want to listen to. Maybe they don't want to listen to the gory, gruesome shit. That's fine. Maybe I need to do more lighthearted things like Alcatraz.
Or the popular shit.
What do you mean? What do you
like Alcatraz is a popular thing.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying is, so I still think the gruesome ones are, people want to hear them, but yeah, I think I'm gonna be looking some more into the ones that are more fun to do anyways. So we will just get right into what we are talking about today, which is the Villisca Axe Murder House. Remember, I told you your brother had told us, and I said, no, I can't do that because it's too, yeah, that's what we're doing this week. This house was built in 1912 in Villisca, Iowa. And I apologize if I'm saying that wrong. I Googled how to say this name, and that is literally the pronunciation it came up with. But for some reason, I just feel like it's wrong. Now, 8 people are found dead in this home, and this home is owned by the Moores. And this is also not just a spooky one. It is also an unsolved mystery. Nobody knows what actually happened, and it's spooky. So here we go. So the Villisca house was built in 1868. I didn't mean it was built in 1912. I meant this happened. This scenario happened in 1912.
Kind of a different time.
Apologies.
Frame, but okay.
I told you I'm tired. Tired.
But just bear with us. Because what you guys don't know is it's like, what, 8 o'clock or something? Which I know doesn't sound
no, but
late
I got
night,
but it is when you've been moving all day.
Like I traveled half the day because I went and saw my
real.
boyfriend, and then I had a nail appointment, and then I did this.
And by the way, this is
tired.
not just one day of moving. We've had actually 2 days of moving because we fucked up and didn't order enough pods to store our shit. So we had to like break it into 2 days, and that's like almost worse.
Yeah.
So anyways, so the Villisca house was built in 1868 by a local resident named George Loomis. And it was about 600 square feet. It had 2 bedrooms, a parlor, a downstairs sewing room, a kitchen, and an outhouse, which, by the way, seems relatively big, in my opinion, for a house built in 1868. Loomis also goes on to build a barn next to the house. So George Loomis was kind of, I would almost feel like he's ahead of his time, because I think when I look into older homes, they don't have all that. They definitely don't have a parlor, that's for sure. So good on you, George. Now in 1903, Josiah, also known as J.B. Moore, buys the home. Now Josiah was one of the more prominent businessmen in the city. He had a very large family as well. He had actually come from a family of 8, well 9, I guess, if you include him. He had 8 siblings plus his mother and father. So large family. Then on December 6th, 1899, Josiah marries Sarah Montgomery. They get married at her parents' home. They live their life. And by 1912, the couple has 4 children. They have Herman, Catherine, Arthur, and Paul. Now, on June 9th, 1912, the family attends a special children's function at their church. Now, this is literally like a 5-minute walk from their church to the Moore home. So they gather all their kids. They go to this function at their church. Now, while they're attending this function, two of their daughter Catherine's friends are also there. Ina Stillinger, who's 8, and Lena Stillinger, who's 11. And Lena and Ina, I just realized their names rhymed.
How'd you not realize that when you were doing the research?
I have no idea. But as I said that, Lena and Ina, holy shit, their names. I told y'all we're tired. Like that was impressive. Anyway, sorry. At about 6 p.m. that evening, Josiah is calling the Stillinger family and he's asking them if Lena and Ina can stay the night with Catherine because they see them. They all go to the church function together. And then the Stillingers are at home and Catherine's like, please, can I please have them stay over? And so Josiah is like, let me give them a call. So he asks, they say yes. And so they're like, cool. So now the Moore family plus the two girls, they get home a little bit after 9:30 p.m., which also I felt like back in the day, they all went to bed by like 6. No, they were at the children's function hanging out until 9:30. Now, the two girls slept downstairs in the sewing room. So the Stillinger girls, they slept downstairs in the sewing room where there was a twin size bed set up for them, which I believe from what I can tell, that was Catherine's room, kind of. That's actually where she slept, but she had given up her bed for the night so that her two friends could stay in that bed. And then Catherine goes upstairs with her brothers for the night. Now, at some point after midnight, a person enters into the home and kills the entire household. It is believed that the person came into the home and started with 43-year-old Josiah. He was attacked with an axe, like butchered. Then they believe the person went on to 39-year-old Sarah, and she and the rest of the victims were all attacked with the same axe, but they were attacked with the blunt side of the axe, so like the flat side. So they weren't axed to death. They were beaten to death. Now, after killing the parents, the person then moves, they believe, to the upstairs where 11-year-old Herman, 10-year-old Catherine, 7-year-old Arthur, and 5-year-old Paul are all sleeping, and they are all bludgeoned to death with the back of the axe. And lastly, the killer then goes back downstairs and proceeds to kill 8-year-old Ina Stillinger and 11-year-old Lena Stillinger, both of them also bludgeoned to death by the backside of the axe. Now, it is said that after all of the victims were dead, the killer then goes back upstairs, spends about what they believe to be 30 minutes continually hitting Josiah with the axe over and over and over. The killer also left the other victims' faces completely unidentifiable. So after this, the killer walks around the home, covers all of the mirrors with blankets or cloths. And this is actually a common practice during that time, like during that time frame in the early 1900s. This was a common practice. They would do this during funerals and wakes. I don't know the significance of it.
Probably so that the spirit doesn't go into the mirror.
Very much could be. But
or like a demon type thing.
Fair enough. So I keep saying we don't know. The person covers all the mirrors with cloths or something. They also cover the victims with clothing or pieces of clothing. Their windows, like all the I don't think there were blinds, like the curtains, all of them were shut. And the windows that didn't have coverings were covered with something. So this person goes and kills them all, covers up everything they possibly can, and then leaves. They also left the axe behind, the axe that was used to kill. It was actually thought that this axe originally came from the Moore's shed. Now, the killer's hands were washed in a pail of water, and the killer also made themselves a plate of beans and bread. I don't understand that. I mean, this is not the first time a killer has eaten after killing a family. Then they also locked the door behind them when they left with a key. So they had a key to this home at some point or acquired a key. It is also believed that the killer did not leave until 5 o'clock in the morning. So stayed there for a long time. At around 7 a.m. that next morning, The neighbor had found it a little strange that the family had not come out to do their morning chores because they have like animals, like farm animals. And so they found it weird because normally by 7 a.m., they're up feeding the animals, doing chores. You see them out walking around. So she goes over, knocks on the door just to make sure. This kind of reminds me of the Clutter family.
I was just going to say that.
So that was what it first reminded me of. So she goes and knocks on the door. And there's no answer. So she walks around the house. She tries to look in the windows. Of course, all of them are covered or they're closed and she can't see inside. She goes to try to open the front and the back door. They're both locked. So she then ends up going back to her home and she gets a hold of Josiah's brother. And she's like, hey, I have not seen anybody come out of Josiah's house. And it's a little strange because they're normally up and about and doing their chores. To which Josiah's brother's like, yeah, okay. Let me come over, check it out. So Josiah's brother comes over, knocks on the door, no answer, walks around the house, can't get a way in. So he has a key though. So he uses the key, opens up the door, goes into the home. And at first when he walks in, he's like, literally nothing seems wrong. Nothing's out of place, whatever. So he goes farther into the home. He goes in the first floor and he turns into the sewing room. And that is where he finds the bodies of the 2 Stillinger girls. They are covered, but he realizes rather quickly that they are dead. So he immediately runs out of the home and asks for the police to be called, which is good on you for not running through the rest of the fucking house. Now, about this time, the whole goddamn town is alerted to what has now happened in the Moores home. More than 100 people show up to this home. They also literally trample the fuck out of the crime scene. So not only do they show up, but they start walking through the house, looking at shit, taking things for souvenirs from the home. Before the police can clear it out or anything, they took pieces of Josiah's skull. What the actual fuck? What the fuck? That is not on my to-do list. If I get called that my neighbors are dead and they've been axed to death, one, I'm not going in the house. But if I was, because I was being crazy, I'm not taking their skull. But some people took pieces of his skull as a fucking souvenir. So finally, the police are like, they kind of wrangle it in. They kick everybody out, close off the home, which I'm like, now it's too late. It's too late, but whatever. And they begin to investigate. They find that Josiah's wallet is still there. They find that nothing has been stolen. So they already know now it's not a burglary. They see that both of the Stillinger girls' bodies had been moved after their death. So they were found on the bed together. That is not where they were killed. In the barn, they found an imprint. This is creepy. They found an imprint in the barn where they believe the killer had sat and watched the family. They even found 2 cigarettes in the attic space where they believe the person sat, literally smoking cigarettes, watching the family. They did come up with a line of suspects. So I'm going to just quickly run through the suspects. First, they came up with William Blackie Mansfield. Now, he was a hired hitman by a man named Frank F. Jones. He was one of Josiah's previous employers. Frank was one of his previous employers. And it was said that there was some bad blood because Josiah had actually worked for Frank Jones for quite some time. And he leaves Frank's business and opens up his own John Deere store. So Frank owned I don't know if it was garden tools, but it was something along those lines. And that is where Josiah worked for a long time. Then he kind of learned the ropes. He saved up some money. He franchises his own John Deere store, which is almost like a direct competition to Frank Jones. And he opens it up. So that's their first suspect. There became a rumor that there had been an affair that had been had between Josiah and Frank's daughter-in-law. So there's 2 reasons why Frank would have, should have, could have, and might have hired William Blackie Mansfield to kill Josiah and his family. Then there was Reverend George Jacqueline Kelly. Now, Reverend was a traveling preacher, and he was in town for the children's church event. So he was there. And he had actually written letters to the investigators pretending at one point to be somebody from Scotland Yard to gain access into the crime scene. He also had a bloody shirt cleaned the week after the murders. My bet is Reverend. That's my bet from.
And I bet you if they were to go to the other places he went, there'd be a pattern.
That's what I was curious. Like if they would have looked farther into him.
I think that would have been a potential serial
I think
killer.
he could. Me too. Then there's Henry Lee Moore. Now, Henry Lee Moore is a serial killer, and he had been known to use an axe, and he had been known to beat and murder his victims, and he had been known to be not in that specific area, but in the surrounding areas that they knew he had been. They also came up with Andy Sawyer. Now, Andy Sawyer was a transient worker that worked on the railroad, and he would talk obsessively about the murders after they happened, and he also slept with an axe. However, remember, they left the axe at the crime scene. So to me, that's just weird as hell. That's not a murderer. And then there was Joe Ricks. Now, Joe Ricks, he was found getting off of a train at some point and he had blood on his shoes. That was kind of the big thing. Like he had come from the area. He had blood on his shoes. But I'm over here like you're hacking somebody to death. You're going to have a lot of blood on your shoes. So just a couple pieces of blood. Probably not this. Like I said, my bet really truly is on Reverend George Jacqueline Kelly because he was in town for the children's church event. He was a traveling preacher, like you said. It could have been anywhere. He wrote letters to pretend like he's from Scotland Yard so he could go into the crime scene, putting himself in the investigation, and also having a completely bloody shirt cleaned the week after the murders. That is the most damning evidence, in my opinion. But again, we don't have DNA in the early 1900s, so can't do anything with that. Now, while those are the suspects, they never actually found anyone to hold accountable for the murders. So for years, the home has had many different owners, like since this happened. Over 13 owners over 90 years. So it's kind of changed hands. And sometimes during those 90 years, it would sit vacant. The home would sit vacant and just kind of get kind of gross. Now, in 1995, the home is bought by Darwin and Martha Lynn. The home in 1998 is added to the National Registry of Historic Places. And then the house is open to the public in the late 90s for people to come to this home. Now, there have been many people who have visited this house. Many have reported that they have had feelings of dread, sadness, rage while sitting in the home during the day. During the day, not at night. They're just like sitting in the home and they feel like absolute shit. They have also had reportings of a strange fog that was seen moving from room to room. And it is also said that the fog that they have seen moves in the same order the victims were killed. So you would see this fog kind of start out in the parents' bedroom, then go to the children's bedroom, then the fog would show up downstairs. Now, ghost hunters have also used EVP and EMF tools, and they have documented communication with voices. Photos have also captured orbs and ghostly fog. Toys have been seen rolling across the floor. Full body apparitions of a woman in white who they believe could be Sarah Moore have been seen. There have also been some people who have unexplained bruises on their arms after being in the home, and there are multiple cold spots throughout the home. Now, the room that the Stillinger sisters died in, there has been reports of the bed levitating. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm pretty sure listen, I don't think the people who died are demons, but motherfuck, when you're killed like that, you're not being peacefully dead. That's all. There was a ghost hunter, who was at this house, and not only did that his whole team see the bed levitate, which by the way, apparently they have video of. The bed literally moves by itself. But that same ghost hunter ends up being like, oh my God, what the fuck is that? And then he lifts up his shirt and he has scratches on his back. That's demon shit. They've heard disembodied growls, children's giggles. They have seen a fog-like mist that comes from the floorboards. Children have also been seen playing with someone or something under a bed. Like children go into the home. Why the fuck you're bringing your child into this haunted home? I don't know. And the children will sit on the floor and play with something or someone under the bed. No. No.
I swear to God, if I were to see my kid doing that shit.
No, I'm kicking him under the bed and they're not coming home with me ever again. Sorry. Now, this is This often happens where the kids are playing under the, oh my God, the kids are playing under the bed. It specifically happens in the room that is often most referred to as the dark room. And this also is the room that the two Stillinger girls died in. Now, in the children's bedroom upstairs, there have been faint children's laughter that can be heard. There has been sensations that people have felt of small hands tugging on their clothing as they're walking through. One woman even said that she was in the room and she felt what she could only describe as cold hands on her ankle while she was standing next to the bed. Oh, Pet Cemetery, that's all I think of. And I know it wasn't cold hands, it was a scalpel, and I understand, or whatever, to the Achilles, but no, I can't. Now, in the attic and the parlor areas, a team of ghost hunters actually recorded a voice, like all through their EVP or whatever. You know how they have the electronic things that they can record? Well, they recorded it and you could hear a voice saying, "Who are you?" And there have been shadows that were seen darting across on their thermal imaging scans. Like you could see it on their thermal imaging. There was a door that had slammed shut for no reason. And they were whispered repeatedly to get out, get out. They just kept hearing it. And at some point, it became intensely hot in the room to where it actually made them extremely sick. Now, in 2014, a ghost hunter stayed overnight at the home. And he brought with him a hunting knife. However, he was told, don't bring any weapons into this haunted home with you because while we're not 100% sure it's haunted, I guess as we should say, the owners have said, it could be haunted, could not be haunted, but I won't stay there. So, like they definitely know that it's haunted. So they are telling him like, do not bring any weapons into this home because there's fucking demons in there. They just don't want to say it, right? You don't want to be the one to say that there's demons in your home. They're not your home, but in the home you're letting people stay in. So he's like, whatever. I want to meet the ghosts. And so he brings this knife in with him and he basically spends his time in that night trying to provoke something to happen. So I don't know if he's like being obnoxious, most likely is making noises, whatever. He reported that at some point he sees a flash of light. And the next thing he knows, he's in the hospital. He wakes up in the hospital. He had suffered self-inflicted wounds with his own knife. But he doesn't remember ever doing it. He doesn't remember how he did it. He doesn't remember if he did it. He has no idea. And then he actually, after he was released from the hospital, he went back into the home and apologized to the home for his behavior. So, you too can visit the Villisca Axe House Murder if you feel that you would like to. Would you like to? Would you like to visit?
I don't know.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely not. I'm an absolute fuck no. You are no. So here are some things that you can do in this home. You can take a tour of the home. So you can actually go there. You can take a tour. As per usual, I will be linking a link to the Villisca Axe Murder House. So if you're ever in the area and you would like to visit, you can absolutely do so. So you do have a couple options. You can take a tour of the home. And to be honest with you, the tour of the home is really not that expensive. You could just go there, hang out for a little while. If you really are into it, specifically Sierra, you can always, book a room.
You got me fucked up.
No, you can. You can book a room and you can stay in there like overnight. Like over fully throughout the night. Now, but here's some real rules though. You are not allowed to sleep in the beds because they basically took this when they bought the home. They restored the home back to what it would originally have looked like in 1912. Because like I said, there were basically 13 owners over 90 years. So people bought the house to live in it a lot. And so they made their own changes. And so they restored it to look more like what it did look like. And you're not allowed to sleep in the beds. So they will provide you sleeping bags though. So you can sleep on the floor, next to the bed where the ghosts and demons are. And there's also no electricity. There's no running water, and there is no indoor plumbing because, again, the house has been restored to its 1912 home. So you are in a house that only runs on good looks and demons and ghostly energies and probably like lanterns. That's it. However, they did modernize the barn that is next to the home. So you can actually go in there. There is a modern bathroom there. They also have plugs. They have a mini fridge. So you can use that for the more modern shit. But here's the thing. If you want to go stay the night, you can book a room. You can book the room that the girls died in. You can book the room that parents died in. You can also book the room that the 4 children died in. You can book in any of those rooms. And check-in time is 5 p.m. Check-out time is 10 a.m. So you can go at any time. But again, you can't sleep in the beds, but you can go and gladly stay there. And it's really not crazy expensive. It's like literally the price of a hotel. But just remember, if you do that, there might be other people in the rooms too. So like y'all are sharing this house together. So the big question is, Sierra, would you, I know you said you think about it, would you stay there overnight?
No.
Why?
Because I'm not dumb.
Me neither. Absolutely fuck no. Absolutely fuck no. Now, do you think your brother would stay? I wish your brother would be willing to talk just one time on here because I'd literally call him and be like, I have a question. Because he's the one who gave us this story. And I would literally be like, I have one question. Would you stay at the Villisca Axe Murder House? And I guarantee you he'd be like, yeah, sure. And then he would never be allowed in my home again because he would become a demon. So anyways, that is the story of the Villisca, I cannot fucking say this goddamn name. The Villisca Axe Murder House. However, I will say I was able to get through this whole entire podcast without my shit freezing. And today we are still alive. No demons have gotten to us. And I feel like this is more demon-esque than some of the other spookies that we've done. And I liked this one because I thought it's kind of a mixture of everything we do. It's murder, it's mystery and unsolved, and it's spooky. But anyways, so if you are somebody who would, like, again, if you would like to visit this home, in the show notes, the very first link you see will actually be a link that will take you to a website that makes it to where you can book reservations with them. But I'm going to tell you, if you go to this house, do not bring your children, because I don't think your children should be playing with ghosts under beds, first of all. But second of all, if you do think that going there and bringing your children is a good idea, don't tell me about it. And when you see the demons and ghosts, just know I told you not to go. I was just giving you, something fun to listen to. But it's not as fun as I wanted it to be because it's very much all not fun. Not fun. Because again, if you're killed by an axe murderer, and the axe murderer, there are some rumors that they believe that the person who killed the family haunts the home as well. They believe that after that person died, they are like stuck in that home. And you know what? I hope they are. I hope they are. I hope they are. And I hope that they never cross over because they don't deserve it. And there was one other thing. If you want the most active timing of like the ghosts and the cold and the maybe sort of demons, you want to stay the night in the house because it's extremely active at about between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. Specifically, when the local train comes through town and honks its horn or whatever it does. I know that's not a train horn, but whatever. Then all of a sudden, many people have reported that when they hear that train, because sometimes people are like trying to sleep at that point, right? Because they check in at 5. Like they're not, I don't know who's trying to sleep in the haunted house, but they are. And they say at that point, like the whole house goes extremely cold and all of a sudden like mist comes from the floors and it gets real crazy in there. And so I'm like, if you really want it to be in the, if you want to see the most active or the best chance of seeing the activity, you got to be there overnight when that train comes through because that train like triggers all of the spirits. So Sierra says that she would maybe go visit for the daytime. Fuck no to the nighttime. Even if your brother went with you.
Yeah.
Because you think there's demons in this
Or
house?
what is he gonna do?
Well,
Say, hey, stop it. No, the fuck? They're gonna look at him and scratch his mouth out.
Well, that was the creepiest part, is when the ghost hunter guy, when he had the scratches, because that's all on video. He's an actual ghost hunter with like a YouTube channel, TV show type shit. And it's like, you can watch his stuff and you can see them actively going like, they are actively sitting there like, oh my God, what the fuck? So again, the minute that these spirits and ghosts decide that they're going to start scratching you or touching you, or again, the people who have reported bruises, these are no longer friendly ghosts. These are literally demons, and they're not there to be nice. And like I said, the owners specifically will not say that it's haunted, but they will also not speak of their experiences that they have had in the home. They will not talk about it. So there's a reason for it. Anyways, my dog's freaking out on the bed over there. It's about time for us to get going because she's going to start making a bunch of noise. This is the part where I'm going to tell you thank you so much for listening to us and sticking with us and all the things that you do. And if you like what you hear and you have been listening to us and you are following us, thank you. And thank you very much for all the support and the shares and the downloads, because they just keep going up. Like I said, you guys really like that Alcatraz one, which is great for me because I loved researching the Alcatraz one. So keep sharing us and telling people about us, because apparently y'all really like us. And other than that, I will say, thank you once again for listening to us tell you the story of the Villisca Axe Murder House, the home that is rife with demons because 8 people were brutally murdered inside. And you're more than welcome to go stay the night there if you want to. The link is down below. Until next week, catch you on the flip side, bitches.
Bye, bitches.